This is the way losers acting around misfits. Pound for pound, I'm the listing. You can bounce and get dismissed. Clown, get this. Couldn't walk a mile wearing my Fitbit. Competition is non-existent.
Welcome to 3 Count Commentaries, and this is my Raw review. Raw is domestic violence. It is literally violence in my home. It is an abusive relationship, with me and my television. Let's get right into it, because the quicker I can get into it, the quicker I can get this over with. You start the show with Nikki Ash, Nikki Cross, whatever they calling her. I'm almost a superhero, and welcome everyone to Monday Night Raw. And she still reminds me of the superstar. She just still reminds me that she comes across like a dork. She tells us this, she gives us this talk about confidence, and it's all well and good. Of course, she gets interrupted by Charlotte, who says that, hey, I blame Rhea Ripley for me losing. I do all of these great things. I'm so awesome. Rhea Ripley comes out there. The fans are really behind Rhea, which is good. She cuts down Charlotte. Then there's a triple threat match announced. Charlotte then demands to fight Nikki tonight. Nikki accepts. They have the main event. They built the entire show around Nikki Cross and Charlotte, which includes promos from both of them later. And Nikki was saying, no matter what happens tonight, I will be defending my title at SummerSlam. And Charlotte is like, Nikki's not on my level. I'm going to prove that last week was a fluke. See, she then goes out there and proves it correct. She beat Nikki Cross clean in the middle of the ring by reversing her finish, which is a roll up with a roll up rather. No pulling of the tights, no foot on the ropes, no eye gouging, no low blows, no throwing salt in the eyes, no green mist, no cheating whatsoever. Just beat her clean. So if you thought that Nikki Cross was going to actually had a chance of getting over, no. And look, I know a lot of these people are going to say, she was getting booed at house shows, Mongo. People don't like her. Look, you can't put the toothpaste back in the tube. She's the champion now. She's got the fucking belt. Treat her like somebody who should have the fucking belt. There's nothing worse than we going to have these untested, unproven bullshit champions. I get it. I know the story. I can figure this story out. I'm not a rerard. Okay, I'm trying not to be offensive. I get it. This story started with Nikki Cross and her inability to beat Charlotte and Rhea Ripley. The story started with Nikki Cross winning some beat the clock sprint challenges. And that was built up her confidence to make her believe that she can win. And now she won the Money in the Bank and she won the title, but she has not really improved that much. She's still almost a superhero. But what they did on this show shows me that they have zero interest in pushing anybody other than Charlotte. Not only did they have Charlotte cut the legs from under Rhea Ripley and beat her for the title, they did have her beat Nikki. And then she didn't just beat Nikki. She then ran Nikki down, and Nikki's not in my league. I told you so. You're a troll, yada, yada, yada. I'm going to win the title from you. And then Nikki cuts this horrible post-match promo. I was almost a superhero. I could have won that match. And then she just gets mollywopped and dragged by Charlotte, physically manhandled in front of the fans. And just Charlotte. It wasn't like it was 2 or 3 heels that beat her up. Just Charlotte kicked her monkey ass. Dragged her over to her of like 5 fans that actually brought signs for Nikki. Specifically for Nikki. There were people who brought signs. The little girl, Charlotte, dragged Nikki over there and humiliated Nikki in front of the girl. So if you thought, for instance, that Nikki might have had a chance of getting over, no. what faith is anybody going to have in this character and this persona and this personality if this is what we're going to be doing with her? And you can say, well, this is going to be the turning point. Maybe after being embarrassed this way, Nikki will stop being almost a superhero and, go into her cocoon and find who she really is and come out a real superhero when she fights Charlotte next week. And I say to that point, I have zero interest in watching Nikki Cross wrestle Charlotte next week. I saw nothing in this match that told me Nikki Cross was going to beat Charlotte. And I didn't see anything after the match that said Nikki Cross was going to beat Charlotte. If Charlotte had cheated, then maybe you can make the argument that Nikki Cross could have beat Charlotte. But no, Charlotte didn't cheat. She just plain won. I don't see why we're having a triple threat match. I don't understand why any of this is happening. It's all just dumb. Well, I mean, I understand it. You know what I'm saying? I just explained the story that, this is going to cap off the story between Nikki and Rhea and Charlotte, where she's finally going to beat both of them. But unless she's going to stack them like Roman Reigns, this is going to be stupid. She's only going to beat one of them, which means that the other one is going to still be around. This makes no fucking earthly sense for you to build a show around Nikki Cross and then beat her clean in the middle of the ring in the main event. It makes zero sense. And what you've just told the audience is that if you ever wanted to try to put any type of connection into Nikki, just forget it. As long as Charlotte is around, nobody's going over Charlotte. And that's the end, period, with an exclamation point. Whether it's Asuka, whether it's Rhea, whether it's Nikki. If it ain't fucking Becky Lynch or Sasha Banks, and hell, not even Sasha really, but if it ain't Becky Lynch, just put it like that, then you're not getting over on Charlotte. And I get it. People are starting to say, well, Nikki she's getting booed at house shows. It's like, you're not understanding. You're not understanding something here. Nikki ain't been doing this that long, okay? She hasn't been a superhero for like 6 months and it's not clicking. It's been, a month and a half, maybe? And they started pushing this thing kind of hard. And it's kind of corny because it's for kids. So a lot of adults are going to boo it and not like it. That's what you have to deal with when you're in WWE. You have to deal with the target demographic of the character. If you are a grown man and you don't like Nikki Ash or Nikki Cross or whatever the fuck we're calling her these days, so what? So what? Your opinion does not matter. The character is not for you. And I know that that's one of those weird SGW things to say, and that's why I don't really like it. But it's the same thing with John Cena. If you see a kid decked out in John Cena and John Cena is running around with the belt, guess what? Treat John Cena like somebody that kid can look up to. Treat him like somebody who's carrying the belt. If you'd have did this whole thing without Nikki having the belt, I could have said, okay, they're still telling her story. She barely survived 2 minutes against Charlotte before. She can last 10 minutes with Charlotte now. So she's improving. She's getting better. She's, feeling more confident. She can hang. But now she's got the belt. We can't do this whole, I'm not really confident in myself. We can't do that. No. I know. No. You're the champion. No. You got to do. No. Can't do it. Can't do it, baby. Nope. You got to fix that. But this sucked. This ate up a lot of time on Raw, too. They gave a lot of time to Nikki Cross and Charlotte. A lot. And they absolutely wasted it. Because if you thought they were going to make a star or try to, no. And I don't want to hear that bullshit about how Charlotte, this gives Charlotte heat back. Charlotte doesn't need her heat back. Charlotte is Charlotte. She's been doing this shit for, 5 years already. She doesn't need to get her win back. Now, I hate to speculate, but this is the one thing I thought maybe would make sense. After Charlotte won the match, they went into the promo segment, which of course what led to Nikki getting her face kicked in. I thought Becky Lynch was going to come out there and say, after Charlotte starts talking about how nobody in the division, she's the best in the world, all that stuff. I expected Becky to come out there and then break up the triple threat match. So they could have been Nikki and Rhea. First, and you could have had Becky and Charlotte in a separate match. And maybe we're just making Charlotte whole again, giving her her win back, even though she still should have cheated, so that she can be strong when she wrestles Becky. That's not what they did. So they decided to shit on everybody. Nothing makes any sense. But if you thought Nikki was the only champion that was going to lose tonight, nope. United States Championship. Damian Priest versus Sheamus. Now, I liked the match. The match was fine. Damian Priest cut the promo before the match saying that Sheamus is a coward, doesn't deserve to be United States champion, and deserves to get his ass whooped. They wrestle the match, and Damian Priest wins the match. I was enjoying this match, and then I was like, wait a minute. This is a contenders match? What is it? So if he wins this match, his reward is that he's got to wrestle Sheamus again. And then I said to myself, wait a minute, that means I have to watch this again. Why do I have to watch the same match twice? I'm not hyped for that. I'm not hyped for the concept of having to watch the same match twice. Now, if it was going to be he gets to pick the stipulation or something like that, I still wouldn't like it. We don't need just have him win a number one contenders battle royal or something, man. Come on. You know, like, why is he beating? For starters, you put all this effort into building up Sheamus, and then you got to have the guy fucking lose. I understand it psychologically. You know, you got to beat the champion twice. It's like, you shouldn't have to. You don't have to do it anywhere else. You don't have to, beat the champion twice in fucking boxing or MMA or anything. If you get in the ring with the champion, you're supposed to be there. It's just silly. It's an absolutely silly situation that we got here. Sheamus complained about his nose afterwards because his mask had come off, and he's complaining about his nose. And the way that the Raw's booking is so bad. It's so bad. I wouldn't be surprised if the enough to have the match and Sheamus wins the match. I wouldn't be surprised. It's been that bad, and there are no strong baby faces on Raw. None. Anybody that you think is a strong baby face, they've probably already hanged a bunch of losses on them already. Next match, Viking Raiders versus AJ Styles and Omos. AJ Styles and Omos win the match. But this wouldn't be the end of the night for them. They went into some type of conference with America's Most Wanted, John Morrison, and the finger-flapping Miz, who are obsessed with drip sticks, water guns all of a sudden, that are phallic symbols that spray liquids into the air. And real weird. So they wrestled. It was John Morrison versus Riddle. And Riddle got a really good reaction. People seem to really like Riddle. Didn't do him any good because he did the job too. No baby faces are allowed to actually be over. Nobody's allowed to be over. And they beat him with a distraction finish because Omos snaps his scooter over his knee. This leads to Starship Pain. And Riddle then gets beaten up after the match. Nobody comes to help him. Nobody does anything. He just gets beat up by AJ Styles. Gets hit with a Styles clash. The crowd chants Randy, Randy, Randy. Of course, there is no Randy. And look, I get it. It's going to be Omos and Randy Orton versus Omos and Randy Orton. Omos and AJ Styles versus Randy Orton and Riddle at SummerSlam. Maybe even a triple threat tag team match if the Miz can wrestle. I get it. I know what they're doing. Why couldn't this match be a disqualification? Why couldn't all four of them just jump Riddle and beat him up? Or at least three of them. Beat him up. Why did Riddle have to get pinned? Why did that have to happen? It's a distraction pin anyway. It's stupid. Why break his momentum? You see the people like him. I'm not even in the position I'm just going to be judging talent like, oh, he sucks anyway. It's just kind of like, no, I'm just looking at the reaction or what you're trying to do and seeing how what you're doing is counterproductive. If the goal is to make money, you should have baby faces, which is really weird because this is WWE, which is a babyface friendly territory. You know? Known for the long stretches of Hogan and Backlund and Bruno and Brett and Austin, as long as they could be, given different generations. And here you are, they just stomping on every babyface on the roster. Every babyface on the roster is getting stomped out. What on earth are they doing? And I think somebody is sabotaging Raw on purpose, personally. Next, you have Veer versus Drew McIntyre. The one match that ended in disqualification that didn't need to. Veer, I don't know who that... I mean, he's the guy from Induced Share. I didn't get to see much of him, and this match wasn't very long. Jinder Mahal brought a lawyer. Says that he's going to sue Drew if he doesn't apologize, which of course Drew doesn't. He then starts a Drew is going to kill you chant, which is of course corny because you're not supposed to start your own chants. Drew is going to kill you. This is terrible. This is terrible. This is terrible, terrible, terrible. And what made it even worse is they showed clips of Drew McIntyre beating Shanky with that chair. And man, I felt like I was on a leaky boat. It was just, I was like, ooh. The camera just going up and down, up and down, up and down. And it was shaking. It was horrible. Horribly shot. That's the worst thing about the PG rating. I don't care what anybody says, bro. The worst thing about the PG rating is the crap camera angles that they started to do. The crap cuts that they started to do when they went PG. It's awful. It is almost unwatchable. It should have given you a goddamn... Well, that should have given you an ulcer. It give you a hernia. It's that bad. It's terrible. The camera work is awful. Drew is going to kill you. It's not good. Not good. They beat up, then Drew McIntyre beat up the lawyer. So I'm guessing he's going to get sued next week. Drew McIntyre beating up Jinder Mahal's flunkies is fine, as long as he's not beating up on Jinder Mahal. They shouldn't have had a match already. You know, that's one of my pet peeves. They wrestle too much. But I guess they can stay away from each other for a while. It ought to be okay. Then we get Eva Marie and Doudrop losing to Tamina and Natalya because there's this, you know, and this was a Contenders Challenge match too, right? Yes, it's a Contenders Challenge match. So if they won, we'd have got blessed with another one. But of course we didn't win. They didn't win. Why did... Doesn't make any sense again. I get it. We're trying to do Eva Marie versus Alexa Bliss. So you had the Lily Lucian, which is Lily, the stupid doll that hangs around with Alexa Bliss. This doll was mocking Eva Marie. Eva Marie turns her back to look at the screen. She turns around. Tamina super kicks her in the face and pins her. And I'm just thinking to myself, like, oh my God, I cannot believe they did that. Well, look. They kind of botched Eva Marie and Doudrop in the second week. You know, they kind of botched it in the second week when they had Doudrop walk off. So they kind of been going at each other. I don't even understand how they're still together after you walk out on one another. But they're still in this position. Then they had Eva Marie lose because of Alexa Bliss. So it's going to be Alexa Bliss versus Eva Marie. That's fine. Okay, that's fine. I don't care. You know, they know that Eva Marie is a heat magnet. She needs to be talking more. She needs to be doing more. They haven't her come out to the ring and wrestling too much. She needs to be talking. That is the strength of Eva Marie. She needs to be looking for reason to get out of the ring, to not wrestle. That is the strength of Eva Marie. And they need to do something with Alexa Bliss. I'm tired of her. You know, but whatever. Natalya got hurt in this match. I think she got hurt doing wrestling moves with Doudrop. They were doing like roll-ups and all kinds of stuff. Hopefully that, you know, Natalya, number one in our hearts, by the way, I keep forgetting to say that sometimes, that she's injured, and I hope it's not too bad. Keith Lee versus Karrion Kross was the next match, the fifth match on the card, and I just wrote down oof, because Triple H booked these guys in a huge main event in NXT. Now they're in a cold match, which means fuck all, that was completely unadvertised for Monday Night Raw. And you can say whatever you want about NXT being different from Raw. You can say whatever you want. You can say, oh, it's a completely different thing. It's like, no, bro. There are some people. Keith Lee has potential. Cross has potential. Why put either one of them in this predicament? You know, why can't Cross get a decent, dominant victory? Why can't, where, like, you had Humberto Carrillo on the roster. You got Drew Gulak on the roster. You got Tozawa on the roster. You got R-Truth on the roster. You got 100 fucking people he could have dumped on his head. Why could it have to be Keith Lee? And why did Keith Lee tap out? Why didn't he pass out in the chokehold? To at least show that he was trying to fight back. Now, the match did get over because Keith Lee and Cross are very good. You know, Karrion Kross did a good job of showing with his body language and facial expressions. Keith Lee did the same thing. Body language and facial expressions really got the match over. The crowd was really behind Keith Lee. They really tried to like Keith Lee, but of course, they killed him too. No heroes welcome. No heroes welcome. You're a good guy. Go out there and take a L in the most embarrassing way possible. Tap out. Get choked out. Get beat up and dumped on your fucking head. Nobody gets to fight from underneath. Nobody gets any fucking help. Nothing happens. Just go out there and get killed. So that's what Keith Lee did. He went out there and got killed. Now, of course, that leads us to the question of what's going to happen for either one of these guys. I don't know about Keith Lee. He was gone for a long time. He's 0-2 since his return. We could always say he's ring rusty, whatever. And I think that's probably literally the case, that he hasn't been in the ring in a while. For Karrion Kross, he needs to be talking and not wrestling. You know, the first thing he should have done is address the Jeff Hardy situation. Or and this is what they should have done. They should have had him wrestle Akira Tozawa or Humberto Carrillo. He wins the match in like two minutes. And then he gets on the microphone and says, Mr. Hardy, I was looking for you, Mr. Hardy. Tick-tock. Mr. Adam Pearce told me that you were not medically cleared. I think you're just a coward and you're running from me. And that's it. You know, or I'm going to destroy people until you show up. You know, stop being a coward. Stop hiding. Come out here and get your medicine. You're a cheater. Tick-tock, Mr. Hardy. Tick-tock. But we didn't get that. We just got him growling and yelling. And I was kind of like, okay. And, whatever. Mason T-Bar took the L to Mansoor and Mustafa Ali. Mustafa Ali is a heel. Mason T-Bar are heels. I was like, okay. Mansoor and Mustafa Ali were like the reluctant tag team partners where they were helping each other, but it was kind of like an accident, not really on purpose. Mansoor proving that he's got his head on straight. He's a plucky babyface. Mansoor is a plucky babyface, rather. Mustafa Ali is sort of a jaded heel. You know, he's trying to win his friend over. And this was actually not bad. You know, it wasn't much of anything, but it wasn't bad. You know, so there was nothing really to complain about here. Mason T-Bar's promo was really bad, though. They started talking about little guys being eaten by them and they're little guys, and it's the laws of the jungle. I was like, man, there's Mason T-Bar not good. T-Bar especially is not good. I've been calling him out for a long, long time. He is not good. He is not good. He's bad. Bad. Certainly not a B-plus player. Bobby Lashley and MVP came out. Big Bad Bob says that he doesn't want to dignify Goldberg with a response and that Goldberg disrespected him. Then we get Cedric Alexander and Shelton Benjamin coming to the ring. Cedric Alexander said he'd kick out of the Hurt Business because he was better than Lashley. Shelton Benjamin said he doesn't care about the Hurt Business anymore. He just wants to kick Lashley's ass. Lashley says he'll fight both of them, then he beats both of them. Stacks them together, you know, and pins them. And he barely breaks a sweat. And I just kind of like, hey, that was awesome. That ruled. You know, Lashley killing two guys, that was great. Why did it have to be Cedric Alexander and Shelton Benjamin, though? I don't know. Like, the people they picked to be job guys makes no sense. Like, it makes no sense. For starters, Cedric is a heel. So why does Shelton Benjamin want to fight? Look, it's stupid. It's stupid. It's just stupid. Right? It's just dumb. Okay? It's stupid. We could be doing something with Cedric Alexander. He does have an annoying voice, which is what Shelton Benjamin says. We could be using that. We know that his voice cracks and it's very annoying. and primetime Cedric Alexander, or whatever the hell he's gonna call himself now, could be something. He's trying to get his look together. He got new gear and stuff. Okay, but they didn't do much build on the Lashley Goldberg match other than Lashley brushing it off. I still think that Lashley should have said something to the degree of, who did Goldberg beat? He ain't beat nobody. Let him beat somebody and then we'll talk about it. Other than that, pointless. Talked about Riddle and John Morrison already. All right, so the last thing, I guess, is Reginald and R-Truth. So Reginald he's a physical phenomenon. They gave him the Sin Cara trampoline now, so now he leaps into the ring. They stole my Spider-Man idea that I had for Ricochet and gave it to Reginald. He works with it though. Like the only problem I have is that his spots look like spots. So like when R-Truth, for starters, is a gem and an ageless wonder, the immortal R-Truth. Go watch Raw and look at R-Truth. R-Truth is over 50. Okay? Look at R-Truth's shoulders and arms. He puts so many people to shame. I'm one of them. I am not as well built at my age as R-Truth is. R-Truth is a genetic freak, a physical marvel, and a national treasure. He's on the microphone during the match, and he's, of course, putting Reginald over. Physically, he's putting him over. Verbally, he's putting him over. The body language he's doing is putting him over, because Reginald's doing all these amazing things. Like R-Truth is trying to hit him. He's ducking R-Truth's punches. It's really good Spider-Man stuff that I kind of pitched for Ricochet. Unfortunately, some of the spots look like spots. Like when he shimmied out of his jacket. It just looked like he was going to shimmy out of his jacket because of the way R-Truth grabbed the jacket. And since it was looking right at the hard cam, you could tell that he was about to get out of that jacket. Right? And so then they did the spot where R-Truth threw the jacket over his face, and the jacket was just over his face forever. But generally speaking, I like Reginald. I think he has tremendous potential. Him doing the stuff with the women, I think, gave him a different kind of push, because it showed that he could wrestle without striking, without throwing punches and kicks, that he could do things physically that are phenomenal, and he can have safe matches without throwing punches and kicks. And that's really interesting. It's a very interesting position for him to be in. And him being the 24/7 champion, he can actually do something different with that title and build up an individual personality for himself, which is why I think he needs to be wrestling in gear. And he needs to have a personality. He needs to drop that fucking accent. He's not a sommelier anymore. He's not Nia Jax's boyfriend anymore. He's now Reginald. And we need to utilize that. We need to do something with him to make him special, make him different, and I'm very interested in what they do with him. He's going to be a very difficult act for the 24/7 mob to catch, but with the right push and the right gimmick and everything, he could be a very solid mid-card act. Very, very, very solid. And if he got, good mic skills and his real voice, because the nigga's from like St. Louis. I'm sorry. I think he's from like St. Louis. He speaks French, but I think he's from St. Louis. If he got like a decent promo in his real voice, he might be a decent guy, So I'm interested in where he's going. But we're in this position now, man, where Raw, again, is an abusive relationship. They pushed Lashley back to almost 10 o'clock. So he was barely on the show. There was no mention of Cena, no mention of Goldberg. The show was built around Nikki, who is apparently a loser and a J Brown who gets booted around. Keith Lee, just nothing. Riddle, no Randy Orton either. And this is WWE, which is a babyface friendly territory, you know, and this is how they treat babyfaces. It's been like this for a long time. They just don't have any strong babyfaces. They refuse to build strong babyfaces. And look, it's not a thing. And I saw a lot of people say, well, it's because the 70-year-old guy is booking Raw, as if that has anything to do with it. But the second part to that particular argument is the same guy booked SmackDown. So you can't say that this whole ordeal is, well, it's Vince, he's out of touch. It's like, what the fuck? He's booking SmackDown too. Not booking half or overseeing half the product. He watching over the whole product. So if Raw is bad, it's got to be something else. It's got to be some of the things that they don't have in common. And I'm thinking that WWE probably just did not give a fuck about Raw anymore. And that they kind of over it. They don't get the same amount of money for Raw that they get for SmackDown. So they kind of like, fuck it. We don't care what we do on Raw. We're going to build up baby faces and beat them in 1 week. Who cares? Nobody cares about this show anyway. It's 3 hours. Nobody watches it. Even though that's not true. People want to like Raw. People try to like Raw. You know, they even did a good job of changing up the format. You know, it was mostly matches this week. It was like a house show. There was match after match after match, very short promos in between to build up, which is good. But there was almost zero star power on the show. There was no Jeff Hardy, no Randy Orton, no Goldberg. Lashley was pushed into the middle of the show. No New Day. New Day was not on this show. So it was kind of like, yeah, it was good to see new faces. We got to see Damian Priest. We very rarely get to see him. You know, but it just felt lackluster. It was a very lackluster episode of Raw. And the booking made it feel like I was being tortured. It was sad. It was depressing. Because just when you see somebody feeling like, okay, we finally getting the crowds back, the crowd gets to pop for these guys, and your pops are wasted. Because if you do manage to get Nikki over the over the hump, where people actually are responding to her and they're reacting to her and trying to give her high fives and stuff in the crowd, you didn't just go and just boot her in the face and embarrass her in front of the little kids. It's like, fuck. Come on, bro. You like Riddle? Why? He's a loser. You know? So, but, and the worst thing about it is we walked away from this Raw not being told why we should like anybody. Because almost nobody talked. Damian Priest talked. You know, that was a good thing. We didn't get to hear anything from Keith Lee. Didn't get to hear anything from Karrion Kross. Didn't get to hear anything from Riddle. Didn't get to hear anything from anybody, you know. Well, Rhea Ripley talked, and she tried to get herself over by, you know, talking about how much she respects Nikki, and even though she looks ridiculous. But for the most part, nobody was allowed to get over, you know. Few people talked, and and if you had any type of momentum, it got snuffed out. So I don't know what to tell you. Raw is just an abusive show. You know, and the beatings will continue until morale improves. You know, shut up and consume, I guess. Anyway, like this video, share this video, subscribe to the channel. Thank you guys for your time. I'll talk to you guys later, man. Peace.
Tell me what's worse than learning all that you led to believe was all horse crap. They distort so questions